Now be honest, if someone asked you to explain your personal financial plan right now, what would you point to? Would it be a spreadsheet, maybe a notes app, or a bank account, or maybe just pure vibes? If your money system feels scattered or maybe doesn't even exist at all, this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Jamie Trull, CPA and financial educator, and typically on this channel, I'm bringing you all the things you need to stay informed, organized, and profitable in your business finances. But today, I'm gonna diverge a little bit, and we're gonna talk about personal finances. And that's because as self-employed individuals, small business owners, entrepreneurs, we also have personal finances we need to worry about. And while they are separate things, at least they should be, they also have quite a bit of overlap. Now, in 2025, I decided to switch all the tools I was using for my business finances, and I recently made a video all about that, so go check that out next. But when making that video, I also realized I had made a lot of changes in what I was using on the personal side of the finance house as well. So this video is gonna be about those changes that I made, what I'm using now, and why. And specifically in this video, I'm gonna be talking about switching my personal banking solution and also switching my budgeting solution. Plus, I'm gonna show you a little bit of behind the scenes as to how these tools actually work so that you can decide if they would be a good fit for you. So the first thing I decided to switch was my personal banking platform. Now, I don't know about you, but I have had the same personal bank for going on 20 years now. It has been a long time since I even thought about switching. And I haven't had a particularly negative experience with it. I use a big bank. It has branches that I can go walk into or go withdraw cash from. I really like that. And I've never really spent a lot of time researching other personal banking solutions that could work for me. To be honest, I kind of just assumed they were all sort of the same. But what I realized actually once I started digging into this a little bit is that I was missing out on a lot of really cool features that you can find in some of these banking solutions that my big bank does not offer. So I started surveying some friends of mine who are really big in the personal finance space, asking them what they use, because I know they have done a lot of the digging and the research. And so I had a handful of things to go check out based on their very sage advice. And at the end of the day, I decided to settle on Crew. Now, Crew, very similar to Relay, which I use for business banking, is actually a fintech. And that means that they themselves aren't a bank, they are a financial technology company, but they partner with an FDIC insured bank. On the flip side of that, being a fintech also means that pretty much everything is done digitally. They don't have branches that you can go walk into and talk to someone. So that's a consideration when you are looking at various different personal accounts. Personally, I decided to keep my longstanding relationship with my big bank, to have that bank to still be able to utilize if I choose to, but now I've added Crew to my personal tech stack. And there are three main reasons that I decided on Crew. The first reason is the biggest one, and that is that it was the only account that I could find that offered high interest checking. And notice that I said checking, not savings. You can find various different high yield savings accounts that are gonna have rules on how you withdraw the money, but this is actually a high yield checking account. And that means I can use it just like a regular checking account and still be able to be earning interest at all times on the money that is in there. And you might assume that since it's a checking account, it probably doesn't come with as high yield of interest rates as maybe some of your HYSAs do. And you would be wrong. When I went and compared it, actually the rates that Crew had were higher than a lot of the other banks that I looked at. So that for me was an immediate yes. That was absolutely huge. The second thing that I absolutely love about Crew is that it has a very similar ability to why I love Relay for business banking, which is because you can actually have separate different buckets that you're putting your money into and have automations for that. Crew has that as well. They call it their pocket functionality. And so you can actually put money into various different pockets if you're saving for different goals, and you can automate money going from your regular checking into those various different pockets. So that's such a great way to be able to set up and make progress that is really, really visible toward the goals that you have. So whether you are trying to save up for a new car or maybe for that next vacation, you can actually set up various different pockets and the money can automatically, or you can do it yourself, be pulled into these various different pockets. And all of the sudden, you now have accidentally saved your way into meeting your goals. And if y'all know me, you know that I am a huge fan of automations and I love being able to separate out your money and give your money a job. In fact, I actually teach a methodology for business called profit planning. You can grab my free profit plan template at the link below. But ultimately, I love the ability to give every dollar a job. And that's the exact same thing that you can do in Crew. And the third thing that I loved about Crew, and I actually didn't even know this until I got set up in Crew and realized how amazing it was, they have the capability for family accounts. And if you watch any of my content, you know how big I am on teaching your kids young how to use money, how to save money, right? How to give money. All of that is really important to their growing into a responsible human being that knows how to use cash. And I have tons of content out there also about hiring your kids in your business. So if you are a business owner, this is something you uniquely can do. And it is such a great way to be able to build wealth for your kids and set them up for success. So I immediately set up both my kids with Crew accounts. They have their own account and routing numbers. They can log in on their devices if they want to. I can see it all on my device and put money into it or take money out of it. And with Crew, you can even direct deposit into children's accounts. So that was something that was really hard to find. I didn't realize how hard it would be to find accounts where you could direct deposit into a child's account who's under the age of, say, 12 or 14. A lot of banking institutions don't allow for that because they aren't set up for business owners who may be paying their minor kids, right? And so I advocate for you to use a payroll service and actually pay your kids just like you would any other employee. But that was a bit of a roadblock for some people who were looking to hire their kids. So this is a great solution also for family banking for anyone who is hiring your kids. I previously talked about Greenlight, and while I do still like Greenlight, what I love is that Crew has a lot of the same features, but without an account fee. So that's absolutely huge that you aren't having to pay a fee to have an account with Crew. So just to sum it up, I absolutely love Crew and decided to move there because of the fact that I can do high yield checking, which is amazing. I've never seen anybody else offer that. They also have automations and you can put your money into various pockets in order to save for specific things. And I love that they have the ability to do family accounts. So my kids have their accounts in Crew. I can view everything in there and we can use that as a great teaching tool. And again, they're going to earn interest as well. So overall, I gotta be honest, I'm a little smitten with it so far. And if you wanna try it out, of course, I've negotiated a special deal just for you. So go to jamietrull.com/crew, or you can use the QR code that is on the screen. Or if you already have downloaded the app, you can use the code JAMIE, Jamie, when you sign up. And if you use any of those methodologies to sign up, you're gonna get 0.5% boost in your APY for 3 months. So that means your interest rate that you're earning on that amount that's in your checking account is going to get boosted by 0.5% for a full 3 months, which depending on how much money you put in there, could actually add up to quite a chunk of change. So if you decide to try Crew, definitely go and use my link to do it. And like I said, you don't have to get rid of your regular bank. You can use these in tandem. That's what I'm doing for now. I have a feeling eventually I'll probably move everything over to Crew, but it can take a little bit of time. So don't feel pressure that you need to move everything all at once. You can get started by even just moving over some of your emergency funds into Crew. And it's a great way to kind of segregate that money out and make sure that you don't spend it while also earning interest on it. So now let's move on to the second tool that I'm using. So I not only switched my personal banking, but I also switched over my personal budgeting software this year. Now, again, for years and years, I used the exact same budgeting tool. I used the tool from Intuit called Mint. And I gotta give an RIP Mint because about 18 months ago or so, Mint went away. And so after I mourned Mint for a little while, I decided it was time to start looking for another budgeting software, but I couldn't find anything similar to Mint. And I couldn't find anything that I liked that also was free. So after talking to some of the personal finance gurus that I know, they convinced me to take a look at Monarch Money. Now, I kept hearing about Monarch, but I hadn't looked at it in detail, in part because it does have a small account fee each and every month, and ideally I didn't want to have that. But once I got into Monarch and saw how incredible their functionality was, I realized that I was going to be saving significantly more than their account fee just by being able to have that budgeting software every month and keep tabs of my finances. I will tell you, in the time that I didn't have a budgeting software in the in-between, I definitely overspent in a lot of categories that having a good budget software would have prevented. So that helped me get over my mental block of paying for a budgeting software. And I gotta be honest, when I compare it back to Mint, which I did love, it is heads and tails above it in terms of features and what you can do. The categorization is way better. I can split things between different categories if I want to. I can even split my budget between things that are fixed, things that I can't really change, like my mortgage, and things that are more flexible, things that I have a little bit more control over my spending on. So it gives a lot of functionality in how you budget. But even more than that, I love all of the various different reporting that I can get. So y'all know I love to be able to use the numbers in a way that makes sense, to be able to see what's actually happening in my personal finances. So I love being able to track things like my net worth. How did I do on my budgets each and every month? How much cash came in? How much cash went out? What categories was that for? And of course, just like Mint, I can bring in all of my various accounts that I have. So it brings my credit card accounts together, my mortgage, my bank accounts, my investment accounts, pretty much anything I can include in there. And it even pulls in my credit score and my husband's credit score, and we can collaborate within the app as well. So that's been really cool to be able to use that as a married couple. So if you all are interested in Monarch, I can do more content around this. Just let me know below if there's interest here, and I can show you specifically how I use it. It has some really cool functionality, and honestly, I think it's going to change the game when it comes to my personal finances. Now, like I said, it does come with a monthly subscription fee, but I'm going to tell you it is well worth it. And of course, I can save you money on that too. So you can find out more about Monarch at jamietrull.com/Monarch. And normally the fee for the full year is $99.99, which comes out to a little over $8 a month. But of course, if you use my code, you're going to be able to save 50% of that. So definitely use my code to save 50% off your full first year with Monarch. And if you try it out, definitely make sure to comment down below and tell me how you feel about it. Personally, I'm loving it, but I want to hear from you if you found it really helpful and what you like most about it. So for me, 2025 was the year of just reorganizing everything in my financial life. And that's even as a CPA and someone who generally stays on top of this stuff, you still need a refresh every now and again. And while I try not to get distracted by all the new different softwares coming out and I don't switch often, I do think sometimes when you know something isn't working for you anymore, it's time to go look for something that will. And for me, these new tools have fit the bill perfectly. If you're in the market for new business tools as well, make sure to check out this video that walks through all of the various different business finance tools I switched last year. And make sure to check out the links in the description below if you're going to sign up and try Crew or Monarch. Definitely make sure to use those links in order to save some money. And of course, if you have questions about these tools, make sure to ask them down below in the comments as well. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.